Thelemic holy season concludes with April 10th. Aleph, the Fool. Liber Al Vel Legis, Chapter 3, Heru Ra Ha. And perhaps silence. Abrahadabra, the reward of Ra Hor Kut. There is division hither homeward. There is a word not known, spelling is defunct, all is not aught. Beware, hold. Raise the spell of Ra Hor Kut. Now, let it first be understood that I am a god of war and of vengeance. I shall deal hardly with them. Choose ye an island, fortify it, dung it about with injury of war. I will give you a war engine. With it ye shall smite the peoples, and none shall stand before you. Lurk, withdraw, upon them. This is the law of the battle of conquest. Thus shall my worship be about my secret house. Get the stele of revealing itself, set it in thy secret temple, and that temple is already aright disposed, and it shall be your Qibla forever. It shall not fade, but miraculous color shall come back to it day after day. Close it in locked glass, for a proof to the world. This shall be your only proof. I forbid argument. Conquer, that is enough. I will make easy to you the obstruction from the ill-ordered house in the victorious city. Thou shalt thyself convey it with worship, O prophet, though thou likest it not. Thou shalt have danger and trouble. Ra Hor Q is with thee. Worship me with fire and blood. Worship me with swords and with spears. Let the woman be girt with a sword before me. Let blood flow to my name. Trample down the heathen. Be upon them, O warrior. I will give you of their flesh to eat. Sacrifice cattle, little and big, after a child, but not now. Ye shall see that hour, O blessed beast, and thou, the scarlet concubine of his desire. Ye shall be sad thereof. Deem not too eagerly to catch promises. Fear not to undergo the curses. Ye, even ye, know not this meaning all. Fear not at all. Fear neither men, nor fates, nor gods, nor anything. Money fear not, nor laughter of the folk folly, nor any other power in heaven or upon the earth, or under the earth. New is your refuge, as Hadit your light, and I am the strength, force, vigor of your arms. Mercy, let it be off. Damn them that pity, kill and torture, spare not, be upon them. That stele they shall call the abomination of desolation. Count well its name, and it shall be to you as 718. Why? Because of the fall of because. That he is not there again. Set up my image in the east. Thou shalt buy thee an image, which I will show thee. Especial, not unlike the one thou knowest, and it shall be suddenly easy for thee to do this. The other images group around me to support me. Let all be worshipped, for they shall cluster to exalt me. I am the visible object of worship. The others are secret, for the beast and his bride are they. And for the winners of the ordeal X, what is this? Thou shalt know. For perfume, mix meal and honey, and thick leavings of red wine, and oil of melon and olive oil, and afterwards soften and smooth down with rich, fresh blood. The best blood is of the moon. Monthly, than the fresh blood of a child, are dropping from the host of heaven, then of enemies, then of the priest or of the worshippers, last of some beast, no matter what. This burn, of this make cakes, and eat unto me. This hath also another use. Let it be laid before me, and kept thick with perfumes of your orison. It shall be come full of beetles, as it were, and creeping things, sacred unto me. These slay, naming your enemies, and they shall fall before you. Also, these shall breed lust and power of lust in you at the eating thereof. Also, ye shall be strong in war. Moreover, be they long kept, it is better, for they swell with my force, all before me. My altar is of open brasswork, burn thereon in silver or gold. There cometh a rich man from the west, who shall pour his gold upon thee. From gold forged steel, be ready to fly or to smite. But your holy place shall be untouched throughout the centuries. Though with fire and sword it be burnt down and shattered, yet an invisible house there standeth, and shall stand until the fall of the great equinox, when Chromachus shall arise, and the double-wanded one assume my throne and place. Another prophet shall rise, and bring fresh fever from the skies. Another woman shall awake the lust and worship of the snake. Another soul of God and beast shall mingle in the globed priest. Another sacrifice shall stain the tomb. Another king shall reign, and blessing no longer be poured to the hawk-headed mystic lord. The half of the word of Heru called Hor-Pa Krat and Ra-Hor-Kut. Then said the prophet unto the god, I adore thee in song. I am the Lord of Thebes, and I, the inspired forth speaker of men too, for me unveils the veiled sky, the self-slain Ankh-Ath-Na Khonsu, whose words are truth. I invoke, greet thy presence, O Ra-Hor-Kut, unity uttermost showed. I adore the might of thy breath, supreme and terrible God, who makest the gods in death to tremble before thee. I adore thee. Appear on the throne of Ra, open the ways of Khu, lighten the ways of the Ka, the ways of the Kabs run through, to stir me or still me, Aum let it fill me, so that thy light is in me, and its red flame is as a sword in my hand to push thy order. There is a secret door that I shall make, to establish thy way in all the quarters. These are the adorations, as thou hast written, as it is said, the light is mine, its rays consume me. I have made a secret door into the house of Ra and tomb, of Kefra and of Ahathur. I am thy Theban, O Mentu, the prophet Ankh-Ath-Na Khonsu. By Bes na Maut, my breast I beat, by wise Tanek I weave my spell. Show thy star splendor, O Nuit, bid me within thy house to dwell. O winged snake of light, Hadit, abide with me, Ra-Hor-Kut. All this, and a book to say how thou didst come hither, and a reproduction of this ink and paper forever. For in it is the word secret, and not only in the English. And thy comment upon this book of the law shall be printed beautifully in red ink, and black upon beautiful paper made by hand, and to each man and woman that thou meetest, were it but to dine or to drink at them, it is the law to give, then they shall chance to abide in the bliss or no. It is no odds, do this quickly. But the work of the comet, that is easy, and had it burning in thy heart, shall make swift and secure thy pen. Establish at thy Kaaba a clerk house. All must be done well, and with business way. The ordeals shalt thou oversee thyself, save only the blind ones. Refuse none, but thou shalt know and destroy the traitors. I am Ra-Hor-Kut, and I am powerful to protect my servant. Success is thy proof. Argue not, convert not, talk not overmuch. Them that seek to entrap thee, to overthrow thee, them attack without pity or quarter, and destroy them utterly. Swift as a trodden serpent, turn and strike. Be thou yet deadlier than he. Drag down their souls to awful torment. Laugh at their fear. Spit upon them. Let the scarlet woman beware. If pity and compassion and tenderness visit her heart, if she leave my work to toy with old sweetnesses, then shall my vengeance be known. I will slay me her child. I will alienate her heart. I will cast her out from men. As a shrinking and despised harlot, she shall crawl through dusk-wet streets, and die cold and hungered. But let her raise herself in pride. Let her follow me in my way. Let her work the work of wickedness. Let her kill her heart. Let her be loud and adulterous. Let her be covered with jewels and rich garments. Let her be shameless before all men. Then will I lift her to pinnacles of power. Then will I breed from her a child mightier than all the kings of the earth. I will fill her with joy. With my force shall she see and strike at the worship of Nu. She shall achieve Hadit. I am the warrior, lord of the 40s. The 80s cower before me and are abased. I will bring you to victory and joy. I will be at your arms in battle, and ye shall delight to slay. Success is your proof, courage is your armor. Go on, in my strength, and ye shall turn not back for any. This book shall be translated into all tongues, but always with the original in the writing of the beast, for in the chance shape of the letters and their position to one another. In these are mysteries that no beast shall divine. Let him not seek to try, but one cometh after him, whence I say not, who shall discover the key of all. Then this line drawn is a key, then this circle squared in its failure is a key also, an abrahadabra. It shall be his child, and that strangely. Let him not seek after this, for thereby alone can he fall from it. Now this mystery of the letters is done, and I want to go on to the holier place. I am in a secret fourfold word, the blasphemy against all gods of men. Curse them, curse them, curse them. With my hawk's head I peck at the eyes of Jesus as he hangs upon the cross. I flap my wings in the face of Muhammad and blind him. With my claws I tear out the flesh of the Indian and the Buddhist, Mongol, and Din. Balasti, Ampada. I spit on your crapulous creeds. Let Mary inviolate be torn upon the wheels. For her sake, let all chaste women be utterly despised among you. Also for beauty's sake and love's. Despise also all cowards, professional soldiers, who dare not fight but play. All fools despise, but the keen and the proud, the royal and the lofty. Ye are brothers, as brothers fight ye. There is no law beyond, do what thou wilt. There is an end of the word, of the God enthroned in Ra's seat. Lightning and the girders of the soul, to me do you reverence. To me come ye through tribulation of ordeal, which is bliss. The fool readeth this book of the law, and its comment, and he understandeth it not. Let him come through the first ordeal, and it will be to him as silver. Through the second, gold. Through the third, stones of precious water. Through the fourth, ultimate sparks of the intimate fire. Yet to all it should seem beautiful. Its enemies, who say not so, are mere liars. There is success. I am the hawk-headed lord of silence and strength. My nemesis shrouds the night blue sky. Hail, ye twin warriors about the pillars of the world. For your time is nigh at hand. I am the lord of the double wand of power, the wand of force of Kafnia. But my left hand is empty, for I have crushed an universe, and naught remains. Paste the sheets from right to left, and from top to bottom. Then behold, there is a splendor in my name, hidden and glorious, as the sun of midnight is ever the sun. The ending of the words is the word abrahadabra. And so, this is about as ambiguous in parts as a Nostradamus prophecy, and people seeing some of this stuff as prophecy. There are connections to various things, either by symbolism, finding truth where it wasn't per se truth, you could say. Some of that's personal, some of that's more universal. And there's, of course, the references to things in different languages and different cultures, which, makes things clearer. So, Thelemic book number 71 is The Voice of the Silence. And Fragment 1. These instructions are for those ignorant of the dangers of the lower ette, magical powers. He who would hear the voice of nada, the soundless sound, and comprehend it, has to learn the nature of dharana, concentrated thought. Having become indifferent to the objects of perception, the pupil must seek out the Raja, king of the senses, the thought producer, he who awakens illusion. The mind is the great slayer of the real. Let the disciple slay the slayer, for, when to himself his form appears unreal, as do on waking all the forms he sees in dreams. When he has ceased to hear the many, he may discern the one, the inner sound which kills the outer. Then only, not till then, shall he forsake the religion of Asat, the false, to come into the realm of Sat, the true. Before the soul can see, the harmony within must be attained, and fleshly eyes be rendered blind to all illusion. Before the soul can hear, the image man has become as deaf to roarings, as to whispers, to cries of bellowing elephants, as to the silvery buzzing of the golden firefly. Before the soul can comprehend and may remember, she must into the silent speaker be united, just as the form to which the clay is modeled is first united with the potter's mind. For then the soul will hear and will remember. Then to the inner ear will speak the voice of the silence, and say, if the soul smiles while bathing in the sunlight of thy life, if thy soul sings within her chrysalis of flesh and matter, if thy soul weeps inside her castle of illusion, if thy soul struggles to break the silver thread that binds her to the master, know, O disciple, thy soul is of the earth. When to the world's turmoil thy bidding soul lends ear, when to the roaring voice of the great illusion thy soul responds, when frightened at the sight of the hot tears of pain, when deafened by the cries of distress, thy soul withdraws, like the shy turtle within the carcass of selfhood. Learn, O disciple, of her silent God. Thy soul is an unworthy shrine. When waxing stronger, thy soul glides forth from her secure retreat, and breaking bows from the protecting shrine, extends her silver thread and rushes onward. When beholding her image on the waves of space, she whispers, this is I. Declare, O disciple, that thy soul is caught in the webs of delusion. This earth, disciple, is the hail of sorrow, wherein are set along the path of dire probations, traps to ensnare thy ego by the delusion called great heresy. This earth, O ignorant disciple, is but the dismal entrance burning to the twilight that precedes the valley of true light, that light which no wind can extinguish, that light which burns without a wick or fuel. Saith the great law, in order to become the knower of all self, thou hast first of self to be the knower. To reach the knowledge of that self, thou hast to give up to self to non-self, being to non-being, and then thou canst repose between the wings of the great bird. Sweet is rest between the wings of that which is not born, nor dies, but is the aum throughout eternal ages. Bestride the bird of life, if thou wouldest know. Give up thy life, if thou wouldest live. 3 halls, O weary pilgrim, lead to the end of toils. 3 halls, O conqueror of Mara, will bring thee through 3 states into the 4th, and thence into the 7th worlds, the worlds of rest eternal. If thou wouldest learn their names, then hearken and remember. The name of the first hall is ignorance, avidya. It is this hall which thou sawest the light, in in which thou livest and shall die. The name of hall the second is the hall of learning. In it thy soul will find the blossoms of life, but under every flower a serpent coiled. The name of the third hall is wisdom, beyond which stretch the shoreless waters of Akshara, the indestructible fount of omniscience. If thou wouldest cross the first hall safely, let not thy mind mistake the fires of lust that burn therein for sunlight of fire. If thou wouldest cross the second safely, stop not the fragrance of its stupefying blossoms to inhale. If freed thou wouldest be from the karmic chains, seek not for thy guru in those Mayavic regions. The wise ones tarry not in pleasure grounds of senses. The wise ones heed not the sweet-tongued voices of illusion. Seek for him who is to give thee birth in the hall of wisdom, the hall which lies beyond, wherein all shadows are unknown, and where the light of truth shines with unfading glory. That which is uncreated abides in thee, disciple, as it abides in that hall. If thou wouldest reach it and blend the two, thou must divest thyself of thy dark garments of illusion, stifle the voice of flesh, allow no image of the senses to get between its light and thine, that thus the twain may blend in one, and having learnt thine own ajnana, flee from the hall of learning. This hall is dangerous in its perfidious beauty. It is needed but for thy probation. Beware, Lanu, lest, dazzled by elusive radiance, thy soul should linger and be caught in its deceptive light. This light shines from the jewel of the great ensnarer, Mara. The senses it bewitches, blinds the mind, and leaves the unwary an abandoned wreck. The moth attracted to the dazzling flame of thy night lamp is doomed to perish in the viscid oil. The unwary soul that fails to grapple with the mocking demon of illusion will return to earth the slave of Mara. Behold the host of souls. Watch how they hover over the stormy sea of human life, and how exhausted, bleeding, broken-winged, they droop one after another on the swelling waves. Tossed by the fierce winds, chased by the gale, they drift into the eddies and disappear within the first great vortex. If, through the hall of wisdom, thou wouldst reach the veil of bliss, disciple, close fast thy senses against the great, dire heresy of separateness that weans thee from the rest. Let not thy heaven-born merged into the sea of Maya break from the universal parent soul, but let the fiery power retire into the inmost chamber, the chamber of the heart, and the abode of the world's mother. Then, from the heart that power shall rise into the sixth, the middle region, the place between thin eyes, when it becomes the breath of the one soul, the voice which filleth all, thy master's voice. 'Tis only then thou canst become a walker of the sky, who treads the winds above the waves, whose step touches not the waters. Before thou settest thy foot upon the ladder's upper rung, the ladder of the mystic sounds, thou hast to hear the voice of thy inner God in seven manners. The first is like the nightingale's sweet voice chanting a song of parting to its mate. The second comes as the sound of a silver cymbal of the Dhyanis awakening the twinkling stars. The next is as the plaint melodious of the ocean sprite imprisoned in its shell, and this is followed by the chant of Vina, the Hindu lute. The fifth is like the sound of bamboo flute shrills in thine ear. It changes next into a trumpet blast. The last vibrates like the dull rumbling of a thundercloud. The seventh swallows all the other sounds. They die, and then are heard no more. When the sixth are slain, and at the master's feet are laid, then is the pupil merged into the one, becomes that one, and lives therein. Before that path is entered, thou must destroy thy lunar body, cleanse thy mind-body, and make clean thy heart. Eternal life's pure waters, clear and crystal, with the monsoon tempest's muddy torrents cannot mingle. We are now again on the subject of suppressing thought. The pure water is the stilled mind. The torrent, the mind invaded by thoughts. Heaven's dew glittering in the morn's first sunbeam within the bosom of the lotus, when dropped on earth, becomes a piece of clay. Behold, the pearl is now a speck of mire. Strive with thy thoughts, unclean, before they overpower thee. Use them as they will thee, for if thou sparest them, and they take root and grow, know well these thoughts will overpower and kill thee. Beware, disciple, suffer not, e'en though it be their shadow to approach, for it will grow, increase in size and power, and then this thing of darkness will absorb thy being before thou hast well realized the black four monsters' presence. Before the mystic power can make of thee a god, la nu, thou must have gained the faculty to slay thy lunar form at will. The self of matter and the self of spirit can never meet. One of the twain must disappear, for there is no place for both. Ere thy soul's mind can understand, the bud of personality must be crushed out, the worm of sense destroyed past resurrection. Thou canst not travel on the path before thou hast become that path itself. Let thy soul lend its ear to every cry of pain, like as the lotus bears its heart to drink the morning sun. Let not the fierce sun dry one tear of pain before thyself hast wiped it from the sufferer's eye, but let each burning human teardrop on thy heart, and let there remain, nor ever brush it off until the pain that caused it is removed. This is a counsel never to forget the original stimulus which has driven you to the path, the first noble truth. Everything is now good. This is why verse 53, the counsel, never forget verse 53, I'm not reading the comment. These tears, O thou of heart most merciful, these are the streams that irrigate the fields of charity immortal. 'Tis on such soil that grows the midnight blossom of Buddha, more difficult to find, more rare to view, than is the flowers of the Ogay tree. It is the seed of freedom from rebirth. It isolates the arhat both from strife and lust. It leads him through the fields of being into the peace and bliss known only in the land of silence and non-being. Kill out desire, but if thou killest it, take heed lest from the dead it shall again rise. Kill love of life. But if thou slayest Tanha, let this not be for thirst of life eternal, but to replace the fleeting by everlasting. Desire nothing. Chafe not at karma, nor at nature's changeless laws, but struggle only with the personal, the transitory, and evanescent, and the perishable. Help nature, and work on with her, and nature will regard thee as one of her creators, and make obeisance, and she will open wide before thee the portals of her secret chambers, lay bare before thy gaze the treasures hidden in the depths of her pure virgin blossom, unsullied by the hand of matter. She knows her treasures only to the eye of spirit, the eye which never closes, the eye for which there is no veil in all her kingdoms. Then will she show thee the means and the way, the first gate, and the second, and the third, up to the very seventh, and then the goal beyond which he, bathed in the sunlight of the spirit, glories untold, unseen by any save the eye of soul. There is but one road to the path. At its very end alone, the voice of silence can be heard. The ladder by which the candidate ascends is formed of rungs of suffering and pain. These can be silenced only by the voice of virtue. Woe then to thee, disciple, if there is one single vice thou hast not left behind, for then the ladder will give way and overthrow thee. Its foot rest in the deep mire of thy sins and failings, and ere thou canst attempt to cross this wide abyss of matter, thou hast to leave thy foot in waters of renunciation. Beware lest thou shouldest set a foot still soiled upon the ladder's lowest rung. Woe unto him who dares pollute one rung with miry feet. The foul and vicious mud will dry, become tenacious, then glue his feet unto the spot, and like a bird caught in the wily fowler's line, He will be stayed from further progress. His vices will take shape and drag him down. His sins will raise their voices like the jackal's laugh and sob after the sun goes down. His thoughts become an army and bear him off, a captive's slave. Kill thy desires, Lanu. Make thy vices impotent, ere the first step is taken away on the solemn journey. Strangle thy sins and make them dumb forever, before thou dost lift one foot to mount the ladder. Silence thy thoughts and fix thy whole attention on thy master, whom yet thou dost not see, but whom thou feelest. Merge into one sense with thy senses. If thou wouldst be secure against the foe, 'tis by that sense alone which lies concealed within the hollow of thy brain, that the steep path which leadeth to thy master may be disclosed before thy soul's dim eyes. Long and weary is the way before thee, O disciple. One single thought about the past that thou hast left behind will drag thee down, and thou wilt have to start the climb anew. Kill in thyself all memory of past experiences. Look not behind, or thou art lost. Do not believe that lust can ever be killed out if gratified or satiated, for this is an abomination inspired by Mara. It is by feeding vice that it expands and waxes strong, like to the worm that fattens on the blossom's heart. The rose must re-become the bud-born of its parent stem before the parasite has eaten through its heart and drunk its life sap. The gold tree puts forth its